smells like excitement. It smells like sweat, blood, and tears. It smells like 3 great games, and it's about to be followed up with a 4th one to end things off nicely for day 1 of week 2 here in the LCO. So, Jubes and Skimmy are here with me, the Mac Man here, Mac Mate, Mackety Mac, Mickety Mock, Mackety Mock, Mac Mock. I took that straight out of Jube's book because he did that to me the other week, and it lost me, and I just feel lost in the sauce. But at the moment, or maybe it was in the rehearsals, but at one point you did it.
I say a lot of stuff.
You do.
He forgets, mate.
Yeah.
Very, very true. But look,
a lot of stuff.
4th and final game for the evening is going to be Peace taking on Gravitas. So, Gravitas did manage to get a win on the board last week, and Peace also undefeated. They're looking pretty hot going into this one. Yeah,
Peace look like one of the top dogs as well. And, you know, after, obviously, no disrespect to Legacy, but after that game, maybe just in terms of how the Peace games played out and strength of opposition, Peace maybe look like the favourites at the moment into number 1, maybe Pentanet number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really enjoying what I've been seeing from this Peace roster so far. I've loved the addition of Aladoric in the bot lane. I think he brings so much aggression. I've just loved his pairing here with Halo in the mid lane, and we just see it time and time again. I think the standout moment for me that got me excited about this team and their chances for this split was just when we saw the Syndra combo into the immediate Rakan follow-up, and it was just no chance to outplay, disengage. I mean, it just, time and time again, this is a composition, this is an identity from the 3 remaining members of last year that were known for playing aggressive. It came to haunt them at times because come mid-late game, it meant that they just fell out of favor. They were just far too behind. But we've seen now they've refined it so much that come mid-game, I'm still terrified, and you're still thinking maybe they are the true front-runner here, Juice.
Yeah, 100%, and it's like, it's not even just like the decision-making, right? It's like, okay, sometimes you can match the decision-making and you can make a, you can out-macro them, and then it just comes down to micro. It comes down to these team fights here, right? And you're just seeing what they can do in terms of just being able to absolutely outplay you in all the team fights, hit all their abilities, able to space correctly, focus the right targets, and they just look like a really scary opposition, because if you think back to all of the games that they've won through just superior team fighting, skirmish, or outplay potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been so good so far for them. And look, on the other side of things, we do have Gravitas, who managed to get the win last week over, I think it was Legacy, wasn't it?
Yeah, they did. They beat Legacy, and in all honesty, I think majority of us predicted against them. But, they've had a few players that have surprised me. Kiyose being one of them, Azus being another. Having some very good performances. Thomas Shen is one who's this is his debut, I believe, so we'll have to keep our eyes on him to see how he does. Azaya as well played extremely well, and Safa was able to stabilize and do well in his own right in the top lane, getting his Camille pick. And look, Kiyose just with the solo kill onto Sybil, and when your mid laner can solo kill the enemy jungler, it just creates and exerts so much pressure. Seeing another team fight break out here again, Kiyose just on that Ahri, and again, non-traditional picks, right? They're not meta picks. We expect them to, not do too well, but they're able to just show what they're about, win games on them, make the correct decisions, and I'm actually secretly hyped about this team.
Yeah, I mean, they just have such a big roster, Juves. I mean, you got competition in multiple lanes, be it top, mid, bot. Lots of support coaching staff behind the scenes to sort of make those decisions and facilitate what's our identity going into all these matchups. And I think, as time goes by, given that we have got this massive schedule, we might see them look to flex around these different identities and find out what their strongest 5-man squad is and give themselves the best chance at, trying to make that playoffs run.
Yeah, that might be part of the coach's interview if we do get the Gravitas coach Skimmy. Why the swap out? Why Piglet has been moved out of the roster? Why has Thomas Shen been brought in? Is it a stylistic thing? Is that how they make their decisions? Or is it merely, let's see what works best, right? It's a long split. Yep. We're going to be playing quite a few games. We do have a large roster. Let's mix and match and see what works best. And I guess that is the luxury when you're Gravitas and you have those players to your disposal.
Yep.
Well, let's see if we can hear what exactly is going to be going on from the horse's mouth, because we have Lisa and Safa here for the pre-game interview going into the final match of today. So, Lisa, Safa, how are we today? Lisa, I'll let you go first. So I want to know how you are, but I also would like to know how much prac has gone into going into face Gravitas this week.
This week, the screen has been going well, firstly, and secondly, we are practicing a lot. to face the Gravitas because we think Gravitas is potentially the best team on the bottom 3 team. So like hard work and it will pay off.
Yeah, so, you know, upset potential, and I'm sure Safa as well, you know, you managed to get that win over Legacy last week, which I'm sure you guys were expecting. A lot of us on the desk were sort of leaning more in favor of Legacy. So, you know, congratulations on that. But do you think you can do it again today up against Peace?
I think as a team, we're still pretty young. Like, a lot of us are rookies and, you know, we're kind of still learning the game and that sort of thing. But I think overall, like as players, like we're coming into this humble, you know, we'll still grow as we progress as a team, and hopefully, you know, if we get the win on them, then that's awesome. But our main goal is just to keep like improving as a whole.
Yeah, and with an open mind like that, you know, it could be scary for the likes of Peace. You know, you guys can figure things out as you are trying to develop as a roster. Now, going into today's matchup, Lisa, you'll be up against Zeus. Do you have any? Are you scared at all, or do you think you've just got full control in the jungle?
I wouldn't say I'm scared because versing him, he's known for as a Nunu, Hecarim, Kazus one trick. I think we got plan. We got big plan into the bank pick for him. So he needs to get ready for us to face me in the jungle.
Ooh, okay. All right, fighting words. And now, Safa, what about at the top? You reckon you've got some control up there going into the matchup today?
I mean, let's just see if they can put their money where their mouth is. So, you know, if they're as confident as they are, then hopefully it'll show.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. Well, before we do get into the matchup, any final words? Lisa, would you like to say anything to Safa?
Yes, definitely. So guys, make sure you're getting on the peace train because we're driving to Iceland.
All right, well, peace out, and you know, we'll see who gets the win, and we'll see how we go.
Oh, there you go. And of course, congratulations to you, Safa, for not dropping any F-bombs today. So, small victories. All right, now, let's go forward. Good luck in your games today, boys. I'll talk to probably one of you after the game.
Peace.
All right, awesome.
All right, bringing the other boys back in from, you know, from earlier on. I don't know if you've forgotten who they are. It is Jubes and Skimmy, the powerhouses. Yeah. Mostly Jubes, the most handsome man on the panel today.
Of course.
So, you know, take a screenshot.
We're also humble, Mac. We take away our own highlight and praise, right, and put it all to this man.
Yeah, we just move out a shot. Just make sure he's the only person in the screen.
Solo.
It's very important.
I can't walk away. I'm strapped in.
Hide your face, quick. Anyway, he's hiding his own face.
Talk about him.
Beautiful.
There he is.
Get him back in there.
Look at him.
Oh, any words on this one, Jubes?
Well, the thing that I wanted to say before I was abruptly embarrassed was that are they selling tickets for the Peace hype train to get to? Because I want a ticket. Is that
maybe
a thing?
you could form a link?
Because I didn't know there was a train from Australia to Iceland, but if there is there a way to get on?
One seat on the Peace
hype
train. Train.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I got your ticket right here.
Yep.
What's your address? I'll ship it to you. Oh no, it's too bright. What's happened? Give me some darkness. There we go.
Okay, that looks fully legit. Like if someone handed me that, I would for sure get on that train and just say, "Where are we going? Oh, Iceland? Sure, okay. Hit me up."
All the way to Iceland. Anyway, we do have a piece here from Gravitas to have a quick look at as well.
Now we're playing 2 lanes, which is really good. Our vision control around the dragon could be better. We can see a blue ward, well, a pink ward, but it's from the blue side, just in between the Raptor and red buff. Ideally, if we had complete control, it's just ideal. But we're playing 2 lanes, which is really good. We have a Zeus hovering Safa and Kyose, which is very nice. And this is really important for Piglet and Zaya to know not to get caught. Like, their win con right now is just absorb this pressure, allow Safa and Kyose to be able to split and actually draw so much pressure in bot, threaten the inhibitor, etc. That's exactly what we do. Now, that was really good by Karthus to not get too hooked there, but there we go. Okay, so Azaya gets caught by the Yone R. Very unfortunate, but at this point, we have so much pressure in bot, and we can hear Safa in comms just yelling that we can end. It was a little bit split decision, it was a little bit split thought process, but they go for the end. And here we have Kyose and Safa just constantly hitting the turrets, trying to end the game. Azusa's Requiem came down, his ultimate, which stopped everyone from recalling on time. So this is really, really good. Very scary place to be in as well. But Safa's able to get the stopwatch off. Kyosa able to auto attack. Safa ults and then Qs, and then we end the game. And that's how we get up our first dub. Cheers.
There you go. Great professional insight coming out from Velixis there. Pretty disappointed we didn't get the Gravitas. Glory.
That little jingle?
Yeah,
Is that your
jingle,
ringtone, mate?
I love it. I love it. It wasn't on the end, so hopefully we can get that next time we do get a piece coming out from Gravitas. But look, moving forward, it is almost game time, so let's have a quick look at the predictions and where we're sitting after the Pentanet victory. Oh, we've all gone for peace again, so I don't know if there's going to be any shifting. Do we know if Rusty and Jordan went for anything but peace, or were we clean swept? I think we were
For sure,
clean
Rusty
swept.
copied me.
Sure.
For sure.
We can have a nosy. Let's have a quick scroll up here and see what we can figure out.
Nah,
I
I've
think
got
if we're being
confirmation.
serious for a second, yeah, I think peace. Just even from the fighting words there, Mac, I'm starting to see that these interviews are getting a little bit spicier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Old mate Lisa's coming out. Is like, yo, this is how it's going to go. This is what's going to be done. And Seth is sort of sitting there, like, okay, bro, you know, you say those words, we'll see what happens. So I'm getting excited, man.
Yeah,
I
he
would
hit him
say-
with the peace out as well. And that's exactly what I'm going to do because it's time for you guys to take over, take us into Champ Select, and close out the day nicely. We'll see you after the game.
Well, here we go, Jubes, for the final time tonight. Open up accounts here in week number 2. Cut off again, but not for too long as we get to see what this draft looks like. But as the bans come on through, what is the wonderful insight that is coming out of that big brain of yours?
Well, no, I was just going to say, I will say, I do think Gravitas are the team that's going to probably upset a lot of teams this year. You know, they're going to win, I think, quite a few games against opposition that aren't necessarily expecting it. I still think Peace are obviously the favourites coming into this match, but you know, if Gravitas are able to pinch a game here and there off the top teams, it wouldn't surprise me just because of what I've seen from Kyose and Azus so far. They'll probably be able to get a big enough jungle mid lead that will transition into a win. Whether they can do that against Lisa and Halo, different story. We'll have to wait and see. Camille being banned away is one thing I want to highlight off Safa. Notoriously known in solo queue for his Camille. So the fact that that's off the table, potentially we see a pick in which he's less comfortable. Obviously, you know, had that Na performance that was, you know, probably one to forget if you're being completely honest.
Yep.
So we'll have to see what he's prepared for API or Appy this week, because Appy's had some real good performances.
I mean, how good is he? That is definitely the player I want to touch on as we get into this drafting phase, because he has been... the fancy feet, the confidence, the respect has always been shown towards his opposition. And there were just times, I think about that game in particular against the Direwolves when he's up against Claire's Cho'Gath. Every single time he knows that Rupture combo comes out, he's ulting away. Every time he knows that he can be dived on the tower. The fancy feet around the tower to pixel perfect position himself. I mean, a joy to watch. A player that has switched lanes multiple times in as many years, but still looking as clean as ever.
And so far, Skimmy, I do like the Lilia first pick here because they did ban away the Hecarim. Hecarim is considered a decent enough matchup into the Lilia. Sometimes we see in the LCK, we see Kayn be picked up as well. You know, yet to see Kayn have a significant amount of success globally, but they do know that Azus is a Nunu and a Karthus player. And they're the two options left, and both are not good matchups into Lilia. So what they've done is they've kind of forced Gravitas' hand and said, you either show us something new or you pick a matchup that's not so great for you.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's a very early jinx here, and that cuts one option as to where the Seraphine can go, but still plenty of options as to where she can flex in, hence why the early draft optimization. But the Olaf being banned away, the instant respect into going towards the Lilia. I mean, it's just a lot to try and consider now as to what Gravitas are trying to throw towards Peace. It's like, here is what our bot lane could look like, but now Peace have a lot of insight as to how they want to set themselves up respectively.
Yeah, early pick Seraphine, so, you know, does Azaya play it? Does Kyose play it? We'll have to wait and see. Time will tell. But Kai'Sa being locked in here. And I honestly think Violet is just going to play Kai'Sa until he's no longer allowed to play Kai'Sa. He's just that type of player. He's just happy doing, he's happy just putting the big boy pants on, doing the damage, carrying team fights, you know, getting to that point in which he's able to just, you know, completely take over a game. And it actually feels like Peace have this identity where Appy is happy to play bruisers and tankier top laners to then facilitate the likes of Lisa, the likes of Violet, Aladoric, and Halo. And I think this is why Peace have started out so strong, is because they have an identity and they know what it is, and they haven't really, you know, skewed from it. They haven't stepped away from what has worked for them in scrims, in solo queue, and in the past.
Ooh. Well, there's a lot to talk about here now. Obviously, Greg has been another flex pick like the Seraphine, but more than anything, has to be the Fiddlesticks. This sort of takes me back a long while ago to when we sort of like a Nocturne Fiddlesticks combination of just pure paranoia on the map. Now, I doubt we're going to see something along the same lines here today, but the Fiddlesticks coming out this early on, when you already touched about some of the champions that they expected Gravitas or Zeus more specifically to go towards, him just to try and throw them that curveball. What do we make of that?
Yeah, I mean, Fiddlesticks is definitely the curveball, all right? You know, it says, you look at the Seraphine, you look at the Fiddlesticks, what does it say? It says, you know, level 6, we're going to look to make some big ultimate plays in the bot side of the map. Or, you know, when it comes to grouping and fighting neutral objectives, you best be scared to contest us there. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Fiddlesticks does have a pretty quick jungle clear. You know, falls out of the meta in competitive just a little bit because pink wards are a thing and people do ward a little bit better. And if you are able to see the Fiddlesticks and if you're able to, you know, at least know the angle Fiddle is coming from, it's far less threatening. So, you know, in this sense, the onus is on Peace to keep eyes on Azus at all times. And it's something, you know, that, like Evelyn, right? Evelyn in solo queue compared to Evelyn in competitive play. You know, there's a very big difference and transparency because pink wards are purchased far more often by multiple players and therefore keeps Evelyn out. And I think similar sense to Fiddlesticks.
And I suppose you can now touch upon the next two bands that came out here from Gravitas, and that of Rakan, a fantastic pick that we've already seen Elidoric showcase multiple times. That could really disrupt the plans that they're trying to you know, showcase here with this wombo combo composition. Same for Tristana, much like we saw in game number 3, or just the game beforehand, where the Buster Shot can obviously knock that key target away.
Yeah, Seraphine
now comes
mid.
to Alistair. So Seraphine mid, as you say, just a ton of CC, big wombo combos.
I would have liked to have seen the Seraphine just saved even later in draft, just because you pretty much see the Gragas and can assume it's going top lane. And even then, top lane's in a weird spot where there are a lot of matchups you can pick that just straight neutralize a lot of things. So top lane is a little less volatile than it used to be. There's a lot of matchups you can just get away with and lose gracefully. And again, like I said, you could almost make an educated guess that it was going to be Gragas in the top side of the map. And now we have Seraphine in the mid lane, I believe, for Gravitas, and it's going to be up against the Lucian. So excited to see Halo on that pick. It is definitely a pick where you can flex your muscles quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely get an early lead and punish there with the AD and the movement speed or the movement abilities more than anything, right? For the double tap passive to get a nice little early advantage, and then comboing that with the fact you have a J4 potentially on the rotate and the roam.
It actually,
could be quite scary.
It actually might be Jarvan top and Gragas support. They could both alternate. Like there's a world where Jarvan could be support and a world where Gragas could be
well, there
support.
it is, Juves. I touched on it before. It might have been the Nocturne Fiddlesticks of old. I wasn't expecting to see it.
Yeah,
I really wasn't expecting to see it, but they have run it back with that composition once again. A top Nocturne, it looks to be, of all things.
Nah, it'll be... Yeah, you're right. You're a big brain.
So this is just spiciness across the board, quite honestly, right now. Who knows what to expect here?
And I haven't swapped yet, so I was getting a little bit confused, Skimmy. I was like, no, not Nocturne top, Nocturne jungle, but then the Fiddlesticks is obviously in the support. So they do have until 20 seconds to swap there, so this is probably what we're going to see locked in, and it'd be interesting to see if they're able to use the Fiddlesticks Nocturne combination as well as the Pentanet of old were able to, if you remember when they whipped that one out and absolutely upset the Chiefs at the time, I think it was, last year. So... For those of you at home that don't know, obviously Fiddlesticks ultimate is a fear if you aren't able to see Fiddlesticks. So in that sense, if you use the Nocturne ultimate, use the Fiddlesticks ultimate, then it's just a fear. It's just a fear and there's no counterplay. It's just a guaranteed fear, and it's almost like a guaranteed one team fight if you're able to execute properly. So it's going to be cool to see if Gravitas are well enough practiced to execute that, and if Peace, you know, are able to neutralize that threat.
This is an all-in composition right now. This is really do or die. And a composition I'm quite excited for on a few different fronts, because we can already talk about the top lane and what they can achieve. But then, much like all Alistairs want to do, they want to roam. If they're looking to try and get those Moby Boots as a first item, how does that then look to try and you know, cater towards Jinx? Because that is what we're seeing right now. A Kaiser Jarvan bot lane. That is looking to kill. That is looking to dive. And that is looking to say, well, if your Alistair roams, that's exactly what we want.
And you know, sometimes the best form of defense is offense, right? Like, they're going. Azus, Safa is pretty much an Alistar and Isaiah just going to be diving backline of Peace. And if Peace are trying to peel their carries, then maybe Jinx will be safe. But I don't like Jinx's chances at the moment because it does feel like Jinx is going to be left to fend for herself when it comes to that phase of the game. Aladoric is playing the Jarvan support, so that is something that's there. And we're going to see some interesting interactions in the bot lane, right? The Jarvan is able to be headbutted away from the flag and drag, and there's also a timer in which he's able to buffer it. Hold that thought.
Hold that thought for a second, because we are getting a bit of an engage right now. But we do have Poltron on the line here, the coach of Gravitas, to try and bring us a little bit of insight to close out day 1 here for week 2. And mate, talk to me a little bit about some of these picks, because right now we have seen multiple curveballs from pretty much either side. We touched on it briefly about maybe when we saw the Fiddlesticks coming on through, it might be the classic Nocturne run it down combination. What's sort of going through your mind there? Is that sort of a targeted pick towards Peace to try and upset the apple cart?
Hey, yeah, for sure. The Fiddle and Nocturne picks are definitely, quite unique. We did a bit of scanning through about Peace for week 1. We figured out that they love to play through their bot lane, Violet, Aladoric, and we thought, okay, what can we pick that just denies that completely? So we came up with a Nocturne top, which can go well or even in most matchups, and Fiddle jungle with the Nocturne ult, the Fiddle ult. They can't see where we're coming from. We have Seraphine ult as well. Their bot just gets one shot. They can't play the game. GG there.
And I like that, identifying the bot lane, because it's definitely a strong bot lane as we've seen so far, really showcasing what they can do. But talk to me a little bit about that bot lane matchup in particular. Jarvan as a support, not one that we see too commonly, definitely seen it in the past beforehand, but does that really sort of upset sort of your strategy or your ideas as to how you wanted to play this game?
Yeah, Jarvan was sort of an unexpected pick, although we had drafts planned out for that as well. We're confident that, with our Jinx and Alistar bot lane, they'll be able to hold their own, if not, win, and then use that lead to help carry the game.
And then lastly from myself here, going into this one, we can already see that Thomas Shen making his debut here in the LCO. With a pretty big roster and a lot of games to get across in the coming weeks, is that an idea from a coaching standpoint to give everybody a chance to impress going from scrims into stage games? Or is it really a case of finding the strongest members on the day for that particular matchup and saying, you're playing tonight?
There definitely was a little bit of, we want to give everyone a shot, but at the same time, for this game, we came into it seeing that Thomas Shen had performed very well in scrims. We're happy with his performance, and we do think he is, the best AD carry from Gravitas to play this week.
I'm very excited to see how he performs today, and thank you for joining us here, Poltron, as we get ourselves into game at number 4 here. And Jubes, nothing too surprising. Saw a little bit of poke come out there from Aladoric, but anything else look too strange so far?
Just full clears across the board, but this is one thing I wanted to talk about quickly before it happens. Lisa just passed towards the bot side, getting poked out completely, and we might see a dive.
Whatever it is, the EQ instantly flashing away there from what would have been a pulverized combination and looking for a double kill as a result, but they get a fantastic trade. That's beautiful there from Isaiah as he managed to take down the Kaiser, and what was a 3v2 works out to be a 1-for-1.
Yeah, Isaiah played that really well, but still very worth for Peace because you have to look at the minion wave that Jinx is losing, and it really, I think it comes down to a little bit of inexperience playing against the Jarvan. So Jarvan support takes Airy, has Scorch and again, I might shot myself off here.
Well, going to open things up here with the Fear. Now looking for the flash forward as well to get the grapple. That's a double Fear now going for the drain life, but it's just not enough damage between the two of them. Yes, they have CC, but they need uptime, and based on the positioning of Appy there, there just wasn't enough room to gather.
Yeah, and he didn't even use flash, did Appy, and Nocturne did use the flash there to try and body block the Gragas body slam. And as I was talking about the Jarvan interaction with the support Jarvan, Airy is taken, Scorch is taken, and the E is generally maxed on Jarvan. And so what that means is it just turns into like a little bit of a poke lane, right? Like if there's no sustain, then it just does so much damage. Like you see that, right? That's coming out like every, 9-10 seconds with the Scorch burn as well. So it does become a little bit of a hard lane to play if you don't respect it. And obviously level 1, Thomas Shen was just getting hit by those, and, a little bit of a wake-up call in that lane.
And this is so interesting for me because it almost feels so pseudo-esque of, this is an engaged support, but it also has, some enchanting qualities about it with that poke, with that ability to hit you from afar. And you're sort of in this catch-22 of like, hang on a minute, what are we actually going into right now?
Well, the thing is, right, once Jarvan uses the flag to trade or to get the poke down, you have a window of opportunity to punish that. You have like 10, 11 seconds, and hold that thought, Skimmy.
Well, there is the EQ combo. Zai going in very aggressively there to try and protect his AD carry. He'll fall on down for the sacrifice. And, well, that really is the game plan here for Peace. Get their bot lane online as quickly as possible. 2 ganks and, well, 2 kills.
It's a little too clinical, isn't it? So, just off the tower dive, the lane was slow pushing back towards Violet and Aladoric, and they were able to manipulate it so that, you know, it was just a free lane for Lisa to walk into. And ultimately, nothing Gravitas could really do besides call their jungler, hard push that in and try and get it to bounce back so they were safe. Fiddlesticks, Azus on the other side of the map, so damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation for Gravitas there, and that all stems from the level 1 and the early laning phase that Aladoric and Violet have been known for.
Certainly has been, as we check in with some of these other lanes right now. And mid-wave, you can see there's a slight advantage for Halo, but nothing to scream on about.
No, Kyose is doing pretty well. He's able to neutralize this lane. Yeah, he's used TP, and Halo's sitting on his. So once Halo, you know, gets to come back, teleport, he's going to start to take over that lane a little bit, as he's doing so now. TP's back, so we'll get a little bit harder for Kyose now.
We'll get to see how he scales into this game, because obviously Seraphine is one of those champions that definitely adds a lot into this composition. Really could be the setup initiator. As I speak of that, that is Jarvan going in once again. Thomas Shin with no mana, no chompers, no chance to try and make this fight one that is winning in their favor. Gonna fall on down. It is Violet that picks up that kill. Now 3-1 at the 7-minute mark. It is disgusting. And now they've got themselves set up for a double of a kill, because as soon as Alistair goes in, very hard for him to get on out.
Yeah, 4-1 Kai'Sa. Pretty clinical there from Aladoric, right? Knows the limits of his champion, knows what his champ does, and he's able to just flag and drag in. And, you know, he's ultimately solo killing Thomas Shen himself while Violet is dealing with the Alistar. And the cleanse comes up trumps there, you know, probably better than the heal because he completely negates the ignite. He's able to walk away as well from the CC. And Thomas Shen kind of just decides, you know, I'm going to keep walking forward, and hopefully we are able to trade 1-for-1. I think that's what his hope was, and was not able to do so.
Well, this is a game that has gone from bad to worse. You heard there from the coaching interview that Gravitas' game plan really was to target that bot lane.
Yeah.
And, well, Violet getting off to a flying start like this. He's already showcased that, hey, I am a player to watch. I have flourished since I've had a starting spot on this roster, and I'm making it work so far. There's the Crow Storm straight on through. There's the jump on through with the Paranoia as well. And that is what you expect to see from Gravitas at level 6. Lucian, good night.
Yeah, very nice. Very well executed. And obviously, you know, if you can't focus bot lane anymore, because I think bot lane is well and truly the ship has sailed in terms of, you know, relevant, like stable, even footing, like Violet's been able to 1v2 here, then transition that into the mid lane, and that's the adaptation Gravitas have made, and a good one in doing so. The problem is like when the Kai'Sa is able to just free farm against Jinx and Alistar under turret, whilst the Jarvan's mid lane, then that's when you start to think, okay, we're in a little bit of trouble here. We either need some assistance or we need to pivot into focusing mid lane. And again, nice little pick up there from Gravitas.
Good little adaptation on the fly there to switch their focus and change out what sort of their early win conditions could be, at least some of their strength conditions, to get themselves into a play of power.
Look at the damage.
That's ridiculous.
It's just an E, a Scorch, and a Q. And an area, of course. But, you know, obviously this is what happens when you accelerate yourself and your bot lane's accelerated. In a normal game, probably doesn't do this much damage, but we're in the situation that we're in, so you're seeing the full brunt of a Jarvan support. Culling used here, just the chunk POC.
The all-in, absolutely. That's going to be him getting dropped down to 50% as a result.
And we talked about this last week, right? Sometimes it's good to just use your ultimate as a tool to secure lane domination, as a tool to secure, you know, priority in your lane, as opposed to kill, right? Halo knew he's never getting the kill there, but what this ultimate does is it allows your jungler, Lisa, to start the Rift Herald, to play with priority, and to really just start securing some objectives over the map.
Yeah, it gives yourself a guaranteed area of the map that you can play for, and that your opposition can't contest. As we check in here with the Nocturne in the top lane, to see how things are faring so far. Actually donated a blue buff, of all things.
Yeah, I think he picked that one up off Lisa. I think he walked in there, dropped that pink ward there, and was able to secure that one. Lisa quite low here. You want to hope Nocturne doesn't get vision of him here, but the enhanced recall was going to get him out of there fast. Could have been a bit of a problem.
And this is what I'm interested about, right? Is at sort of what point in the game do Gravitas, you know, not feel reliant as such on this composition, this bread and butter of double charge in, cause chaos within that small brief window? Because it seems so far, at least as Jinx is concerned, it's going to be a while away before that is able to really match the power that this Kai'Sa can bring to the table. I suppose still a lot of question marks around the mid lane as to how that can look to try and, you know, sway the balance of things, but...
The neutralizer for me, and Alistair, the question mark pings there going off, so they do think Fiddlesticks is around, or they do know Fiddlesticks is around, so I'd be surprised if Violet got caught here. And so, Skimmy, to answer your question, the equalizer for me in this game is the Fiddlesticks, right? It might be another culling. No. The Fiddlesticks, if he's able...
You just can't get a word in right now. There's the flash combo into the Crow Storm, into the all-in right now. Both flashing away, but Alidoric holds on for as long as possible, pops the stopwatch, and forces a full commitment of 4 members of Gravitas towards this bottom side of the map. And for sure, now they have to guarantee the Dragon to make this play compound further.
I really like to see that from Gravitas. You know, that's a big play to make, right? Like, that's a lot of confidence, and we're on the Dragon, but it looks like Lisa's... Yeah, it looks like Lisa was going for the all-in on Thomas Shen. You know, that takes a lot of confidence to make that play, and it's not easy to do, especially when you are at such a deficit in that bot lane, and seeing their composition really come to fruition there. Both summoners burnt from Violet, so next time around you have to almost guarantee a kill. And they picked up the Dragon, so really well done from Gravitas.
Yeah, it really works out in their favor right now. Suffer committing the teleport to make that play, and Violet having to burn both summoners, both a flash and a cleanse.
Yeah, so
Nocturne, sure things worked in their favor.
Nocturne used the ultimate there and teleported, and in doing so, and this might be a solo kill.
Oh, the flash into the encore to say maybe a Zeus. You're in the angle, perhaps you can help me, but now that flash just feels so awkward to burn.
Cheeky solo kill there coming out of Halo.
Greedy recall maybe?
Yeah, definitely a greedy recoil, but Seraphine able to base, pick up the first item, so definitely going to be a little bit of a power spike there. But the problem is that item really enhances the Jinx, and the Jinx is at a significant deficit.
Certainly is. That's going to be the Herald dropped as a result, meaning the first tower goes the way of Peace, who look to compound their gold lead even further. Up by 3k so far, and a lot of that goes on this man on your screen right now, Violet. 4 kills to his name, a bounty soon to explode from 450. What an absurd figure at such a small starting stage of this game.
I mean, he's like an item and a half already at 13 minutes. And they aren't cheap items, Skimmy, so if this Kai'Sa is able to just, you know, free hit in a team fight, and not even necessarily free hit, I'm confident they could just play front to back, and yeah, Violet will just absolutely shred. So probably not, you know, they don't want to team fight in a traditional sense, right? You can, with the composition that Gravitas have, you can always win the game if you just land like the perfect Seraphine ult into Fiddlesticks ult, right? You always have like that Hail Mary. And no matter the gold deficit, no matter how strong the Kai'Sa is, if you're able to kill her within the fear, it doesn't matter how much gold she has. So there's always that. But in terms of, you know, the traditional front to back where you've got Appy in front of Halo, you know, Alidoric just committing to the back line, you'd have to say it's as
Well, it's the EQ combo, no flash required, straight away into the Indomitable Will to try and buy himself as much mitigation as possible. Soaking up a storm here with the culling, as well as the body shield of Thomas Shen as well. And that means that what was looking like a pick angle does not find success.
Zaya was able to...
Hang on a minute though. Lisa is in a whole bunch of trouble. He has no flash, he has no stopwatch. The counter engage. Beautiful play here from Gravitas. Now there's the flash body slam, a bread and butter combo right there to try and take out the Fiddlesticks. He's going to survive. The explosive cast goes
what's
nowhere.
Happening?
I think he was anticipating a flash disengage. He tried to be the hero, but now he looks like zero. And there's the instant missile, killer instinct, pop-off carry potential. It's redemption after question mark after redemption. It's a double kill. And finally, Peace say, hang on, cut the VOD.
I mean, like, it's very messy, Skinny. It's obviously you know, if you consider minion waves lost and you know, Nocturne getting some free time in the bot lane turret, and you know what, Skimmy, I cut myself off because the teleport's coming in from Halo.
No time to talk in this game, Jeeves. It seems to be the story of today right now. Look at that damage. Sidesteps at the end corner, just gets clipped by it. As a flash, but down to 50% himself would be very risky. Dashing away, here comes Nocturne, flashing away from that! Unspeakable horror. It's a spell. And it's a word now stuck in Halo's mind.
Butchered his flash a little bit, didn't he? A little bit of a panic. That's what Nocturne does to you sometimes. So we see here, Ace is going in. Okay, you think, not bad. Jinx picks up the kill here. You think they might be able to turn it. Appy is just a little bit too tanky. Flashes in. Might want to cut the clip here so they don't see that. Misses the Gragas ultimate. You know, it happens. We've all been there. We've definitely all been there. And then, you know, you think, okay, this is a net positive for Gravitas, but then Violet just comes on in, lands the W, and it's as good as done here. Picks up another kill. Picks up the second kill, picks up the double kill, as well as the turret. So, again, Nocturne got some free time in bot lane, able to pick up a lot of farm, able to pick up a turret, able to pick up some plates in the mid lane as well. So, Gravitas were able to, you know, slightly, I think, cut the gold lead. So you have to say net positive, but Peace, little sloppy.
Definitely a little bit of sloppy there. Still trading up as a result, but definitely giving Gravitas a chance to showcase what their comp is built to do and able to execute quite fittingly upon it at the same time. A Dragon apiece so far as we get ourselves into a spot of bother with a third Dragon suit to spawn. Nice little spell shield. Flashes the explosive cast this time. That looks good.
Yeah, a lot of respect given there by Safa. You know, maybe you'd make the argument he didn't need the flash, but because I think he would have got knocked back into the wall there, but hey, better safe than sorry. And looks like Gravitas are giving the neutral objective with the composition that they crafted themselves. I thought this might be something that they'd want to contest. But, you know, Kai'Sa is an Essence Reaver ahead of the Jinx if you're looking at itemization. So,
yeah,
probably not the best to fight, especially if Kai'Sa isn't the first one that's dying.
Ooh, ultimates are soon to come up here for both the Seraphine as well as the Nocturne. Maybe a big reason as to why they decided to opt for the neutral trade, if you will. So Herald for Dragon, Soul Point for turret advantages.
Kai'Sa and Lilia are just such a deadly combination, right? Like, if Lilia is able to just flash Q, tag everyone, multi-man sleep into Zhonya's, then really Kai'Sa is just going to have a field day ulting into the back line, especially when you're this fed. It's almost going to be an assassination. We're definitely seeing a little bit of a different itemization too, Skimmy, from Lilia. If you look at the... Usually the Lilias opt in for Liandry's.
We see Liandry's, we see Moonstone, but yeah, Night Harvester, more movement speed, more stickiness potential, maybe to try and run away from what is a very all-in-collapse Gravitas comp.
The Liandry's itself probably makes you a little tankier too, though, so... Lisa obviously confident that he's not needing the Liandry's this game. It is a squishier composition built from the side of Gravitas, so that's probably his thought process there. Doesn't necessarily need the Liandry's to shred through the lineup.
Continue to map pressure here. Aggressive invade there with a sweeper. Okay, well that's going to be the empowered route into the Encore straight away for what was looking like a pick angle, but one goes golden and the other just looks to waddle away.
Jarvan's first item was the Zhonya's. I really don't mind it, Skimmy, because he's able to just completely dive backline, right? Stall for an absurd amount of time, then pop the Zhonya's, and then, you know, if your team fight's still going on and you manage to kill Aladoric, then it's probably a lost team fight.
Well, the question is now, how do Gravitas play for this one? Because they're giving up a lot of room right now. They're definitely playing reactively when, you know, Peace continue to exert this amount of presence and pressure on the map to say that we own the river, we own your part of the jungle, we've got the vision. Take a quick stock check of the enemy red sides here for all the vision that Peace have planted on down. They know exactly where you are. Mid-tier 1 having fallen on down, same for Gravitas here now, but also it just means any rotation between top and mid, Peace know exactly where you are.
Yeah, and it just goes to show the experience of the squad, right, and how good Peace are. You know, they're willing, they don't skip steps. They're setting up. That's the correct setup, right? They're getting the vision down and they're playing off of their vision. And they're not skipping any steps, and this is why we're seeing the gold lane, you know, maintain itself. And the thing that I wanted to touch on, Skimmy, and I kind of highlight if you're a Gravitas fan, is that if Violet falls down, is all of a sudden the team fight even? Like, it is what, a 4,000 gold lead? And is he almost that 4,000 gold lead in itself? Yeah, he's about 3,000.
There it is.
So, yeah. So, you know, you have to consider if you're able to use those ultimates as a Gravitas fan and land those onto Violet, his cleanse being down, you all of a sudden just completely neutralize the game, neutralize the gold lead, and the team fight is really anyone's for the taking. So thank you to the observers there. Really,
Continue to smurf.
yeah, smurfing.
But I mean, yeah, the other 1k gold that you're highlighting, definitely in favor here for Halo. Otherwise, the rest of Gravitas, in their own individual right, are ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely a big window to consider, and especially with Violet not having a cleanse at the moment, which is so crucial to try and disrupt this CC combo chain that Gravitas are throwing their way, as we can see on Delight right now.
Sonya's again.
Another stopwatch. Out comes the Paranoid, flashing away. Might have just been out of range. Actually, no. Popping the Paranoid to then TP in as he comes in to look for Appy. Appy going to go for the explosive cast. Going to try and knock back as many people as possible. Here goes Drowsy. Violet living, kiting, do whatever he can. There's the Crowstorm. They've called out one key target. He flashes away just on the line of sight, but gets taken on down for an unexpected double kill on the Alistair. This is what you were highlighting, Juves, and this might be the reality.
Yep. And this is what happens when I'm going to hold that thought, Skimmy, because there's going to be more.
He's looking for it. WQ combo is easy as you like it. A Jovan can EQ, but I can WQ. We're playing Tekken.
Oh, Violet.
We're bashing buttons. Violet! With the flash! And Azai has no mana. He can't do it. This is looking like an easy 1v3 angle. He's not going to go for any more. Does he have the missile? He doesn't.
He's
It's
a
up in
little...
6 seconds. He's hunting. You just know he's hunting for this. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he wants that triple. He wants that moment. He has no vision. That won't stop him hunting.
He's a little too clean, isn't he? He's a little too good at League of Legends sometimes, Violet. There's so much to break down against Gimme because it's not as simple as, you know, Gravitas just won the team fight and that's all good. They did win the team fight, but then a little bit of individual brilliance from Violet was able to kind of recover losses and pick his team up the dragon now. But again, you have to look at team composition and they've managed to shrink the gold deficit to 2k. Now that's what happens when you give away shutdowns, right? It significantly reduces the gold deficit, and Gravitas are still in touching distance. And when you look at the composition, Thomas Shen's just picking up farm, getting a few kills. So Aladoric having to burn the Zonyas early, not what you want to do when you're building the Zonyas on the Jarvan. Appy rather just TPs in, is a little too deep, gets focused down. Then you think, okay, this is looking very bad for Gravitas, but Fiddlesticks is able to get the ultimate off, able to get the channel, and Halo just doesn't participate at that point. He's just feared, flashes, still dies, and again, a little bit of individual brilliance from Violet is able to recover this, you know, the losses here. And if he doesn't do this, this is probably a Baron Skimmy for the side of Gravitas. And we look back to live.
There's no time.
Yeah.
It's just happening again, as you say. Yeah, Violet picking up another kill, now 8 to his name. But to touch briefly, if these teams allow us for one moment to talk about that team fight beforehand, I think it really is where Gravitas thrive more than anywhere, right? In those choke points, in those little angles. Zanadora gets called out again. No stopwatch roll. Well, there it is again. It's finally coming on out. The cask into the sleep, as well as the Cataclysm. A flurry of ultimates thrown their way. As Peace looked to be really set on taking this Baron, but realizing, hang on a minute, Gravitas are right there, so maybe a little bit of nerves now from Peace.
Yeah, Aladoric, a few hiccups in a row now. You'd have to argue, like, he you know, for all the good he did in the early game, getting caught a couple times now, forcing Peace into some situations that they don't want to be in. And, you know, that Baron was never going to be a 50-50, right, against the Fiddlesticks, you know, especially because they had no vision over the wall. So the Fiddlesticks is going to land a fear onto someone, and Halo, who's your mid laner, doesn't have a cleanse, and Violet has no flash, so not a risk you want to run. And someone I want to touch on, Skimmy. I want to touch on Azaya this game. I think he's had an outstanding game.
For sure.
With how the early game started, with how the laning phase started. You know, his AD carry was dying quite a bit. You know, laning against Violet and Aladoric is no easy task, but he's managed to just find windows and engages back into the game. And 5-4-2, sure, you don't want 5 kills on your Alistair, but I think he's just had such a good and big team fight presence.
His impact to try and find those picks in the first place, right? Which is what you love to see an Alistair do. Engage with confidence, engage with no fear, and know that you got backup right there to support you. And I mean, we continue to see what Thomas Shen's influence, really will look like on this fight. But, as this game continues, as Peace continue to exert all this pressure and presence with warding in the enemy's jungle, whenever they step their head in there to say hello, it's either Alidoric getting caught out of position or them taking unfavorable fights. I mean, it doesn't really get any better when they go for those full-on 5v5s around the Dragon or the Baron, because, once again, clumped up situations where Gravitas really have a chance to showcase what they're about.
Yeah, and you know what, Skimmy? Sometimes, ooh, nice little check there. Sometimes being ahead can be your own demise, in a sense that Alidoric probably feels so strong, and the game state feels so good for Peace that he's skipping steps and he's doing things that he wouldn't normally do in a closer game, right? And then when you have the composition of Gravitas, you will be punished every day of the week for doing that. And so in this sense, Gravitas are just punishing, the overzealousness of Alidoric and or the Peace lineup, right? And it's just they have the composition that allows them to do so.
We'll talk about composition. We'll spend a second here as teams get themselves geared up for another neutral objective contest. We'll talk a little bit about the itemization. Triple Zonia is now found here between Lilia, the Jarvan, as well as the Fiddlesticks. Really on all the characters you'd love to see them on. As Appy now is acting bodyguard.
That's a quick Baron. That is a very quick Baron.
Shredded. Double AD carry,
Yes,
this is what you
flash.
love to see. Here's the Paranoia. But
Lilia.
once again used as a TP, it's feigning the engage. So not for the engage, but more so for the scary threat of what it could lead to.
That was a really nice play there from Peace, but unfortunately for them, Lilia took a little bit too much damage. But the one thing that they were able to do is they were able to force the Nocturne ultimate out. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication. Maybe they said, okay, we're going to 50-50 the Baron. Let's use all of our tools to distract. But nevertheless, really good nerve from Peace to force that ultimate out. And 30 seconds until Dragon spawns, you'd have to say Nocturne without ultimate is... and now Jinx without ultimate is fairly useless.
Yeah, well, key ultimates burnt as a result. TP
Teleport.
considered as well. And now Peace may just be saying, well, this is a situation that we're quite happy about. Sure, go take the Dragon. We are in Soul Point, but we would much rather this. And Gravitas are just nowhere to be seen, and they have to be here because look at the burn. Double AD carry as well as a Lilia. You blink, it's gone. The Baron is there. They'll be aware of it, and now they have to fully all in to take this Dragon.
Yeah, Kai'Sa damage to Baron's just really ridiculous, and if you're just nowhere in range, it's gone down. And it's not even that it's Kai'Sa, it's just a 4-item 80 carry. And Kai'Sa has Guardian's Angel now, so the next team fight from Gravitas is going to be extremely hard because not only do they have to win it once, they have to win it twice now. Guardian Angel, Zhonya's. It's just Zhonya's across the board, and then a Guardian Angels as the icing on the cake.
It's going to come down to what this team really formed their identity around. Team fighting. Not been a game really dictated much on a macro sense. We've seen ideas about pushing waves, but for the most part, it's really been a chance for both teams to showcase we want to fight. Peace fighting into a composition that wants to fight. And definitely giving Gravitas moments to shine, as we can see here. Crowstorm goes on out, Paranoid looking for it, instantly cleanses, then Killer Instincting back in, flashing on out, now in a 1v1 situation against this Nocturne, goes for the golden stopwatch. Dear me, I'm getting thrown off by this one. Beautiful spell shield to negate that ultimate from Gragas.
It's a
But as that
1-5.
fight was chasing to the side, Gravitas are getting a kill in the mid lane. It continues as the culling is really a fadeaway disengage. And once again, it's just team fighting versus team fighting.
Yeah, 100%, and it's a 2-for-2, right? And you'd have to argue, sorry, not a 2-for-2, it's a 1-for-2, and you'd have to argue that's a Baron buff wasted, right? By the time the respawns come on through, no teleports available. Gravitas have done an extremely good job in pretty much neutralizing that Baron.
Wow.
And that's also, Skimmy, sorry, the important thing to note here is that that's Violet's flash and cleanse gone now.
He burnt everything.
Yeah.
He kept the GA, but everything went towards him, and they knew.
And a little bit of a mis-execution there from Gravitas, right? Seraphine misses the ultimate as well, but they're fighting on two fronts, and again, this looks like miscommunication from Peace. Halo wasn't there. Fights on two ends. Peace, Violet was chasing Sapphire, and at the point Nocturne uses ultimate, he's not really a threat anymore, so you'd have to say chasing him there's a little bit of a mistake. But again, still game on.
Those are the points I wanted to highlight, right? The fact that they willingly took a 4v5, had to sacrifice double summoners. They keep the GA, but then the blinkers go on. I suppose they're very much ADC mentality. I have to secure kills. I've got to take him down. I can't group up with the rest of our team. Most of our team doing whatever they could, right, in the mid-wave to try and hold off Gravitas. But they get a favorable trade. Another Baron buff loss, but it doesn't seem to matter because it's a 6k gold lead still, so Peace still fancy their chances, but here's another Crow Storm angle if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that was definitely a Crow Storm angle, but Safa just seems to be caught in the side lane, a little bit too deep, cut off by Kai'Sa.
Can't spell shield that one. Locked in the Cataclysm. He's just going to donate the kill across to his AD carry. Pops the Zonia, says hello, poking from start to finish, and making this man now double digits.
And, you know, what do they lose here, right? Are they going to have to take a 4v5? Are they going to be caught here? Ultimate lands.
Locked in place there where the Chomp is, but the explosive used to try and catch a key target out of place. Not going to find it, however.
Might lose a turret here, Skimmy, but if that's all they lose, they got to be happy with that, considering they're down a member. Next lull state we get, Skimmy, remind me to bring a point up. Might have one here, actually. Now, I'm all for bans, but I did want to bring something up. Violet did make mention of this being a very easy game. In different words, but he did make mention of that. And now what I think is this has been far from an easy game. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you could look at it from an individual aspect without any context and go 10-1, you can back him up, for sure. Easy, right?
Oh, you can't fault him.
You can't fault him, for sure, right? But then from a global standpoint of a full 5v5, it's basically both teams saying, we're better at you than team fighting, even if you play team fight. We don't want to macro. We don't want to do boring, you know, turret trades. Even though they are up 5 turrets to 2, they are willingly going into the scary wombo combo comp Gravitas have. So
yeah.
It's definitely not one of those clean-cut 20-minute games that they'd have been taunting their opposition for.
No, and what I would say is that they've earned the respect, right? Gravitas, regardless of result, I think have done a job and earned the respect, and that's a lot of damage from a bowling ball down the lane, by the way. But I just thought that was interesting, right? Like, you know, the narrative coming into the game.
Oh,
Violet,
for sure.
Violet definitely thought it would be a quick one, and I think we have all but a quick one on our hands. You know, we have a pretty much... next team fight really does decide what happens in this game, and the way team fights have been going.
Continue to poke there between the Jarvan as well as the Lilia. Already taking down Zaya's Alistair. About 3/4, but that's the power of a Seraphine. Tops him up nice and healthy. Out comes the Paranoia once again. The map goes dark, he charges in, one target in mind. It's going to be the Lucian. He goes for the stopwatch instantly. One member put to sleep. There's the flag and drag into the combo. Straight away, Azu's going it down 10 HP. He's popped the Zonias. He's living to tell Halo. He gets some fruit. Get your 5 a day. The veggies are healthy, but the fruit is that much better. A double kill for Violet. He finally pops that GA just by a fraction. He's going to have to flash up very shortly, but this looks like a fight that is all things peace so far, as members get run down left, right, and center. That'll guarantee the soul point, and that might be the icing on the cake here, Juice.
Absolutely a game of inches, you know. Halo was on sub 100 health. Violet was on sub 100 health. You talk about, you know, different dimension. Maybe there's a dimension where Gravitas win that fight. You know, really well carted out by Peace. They were able to just, you know, kite back on their AD carry, double AD carry composition, and just melt the back line, or the front line rather, of Peace. So keep on here. Look at the Fiddlesticks, the amount of damage that's coming on through. Halo, sub 100 health. Violet goes down really low as well, but just too much damage coming out of the AD carries. And again, really well played team fight. Absolutely playing on the limits there.
And a beautiful flag and drag there before Aladoric fell on down. You know, he was literally on his last breath, goes in for the EQ, knocks up everybody, buys them a little bit of extra time as they go into the ramp for their own side jungle, but this really has been a game. I mean, we repeat the same narrative, soon approaching a 10k gold lead, but it's been anything but easy here for Peace.
Oh yeah, 100%, and you know what, after the early game that Peace had, you thought it would be as good as done in 20 minutes, right? You know, Violet left lane with 4 kills, but they were able to stabilize, find other avenues to play around, but you know, now they're kind of looking down the barrel of a game that's going to be hard to bring back, right? You know, they're fighting against a mountain soul now, extra resistances for their double AD carries, as well as the shield, you know, and then to top that off, the Baron buff.
It's a ton of mitigation, and as you quite rightly pointed out, this is a game of inches. You know, some of these matchups have been some of these skirmishes, I should clarify, have been that close. So just that extra degree of resistance and mitigation might be enough for them to continue this aggressive style of matching Gravitas's aggression, going toe-to-toe and coming out ahead right now. We'll get to see what it means with this Baron buff if they look to try and siege up and end this game, but as it seems so far, they are looking to prep themselves 2 waves to escort in.
Look, the problem you're going to have now too is like you look at the level disparity of Peace, right? They've been playing their lanes a lot better, a lot more efficient, as you can tell by the CS, and they've definitely been eating EXP, you know, on their lonesome. So Halo's level 18, Kyosei's level 15, Violet's level 18, Thomas Shen's level 15. So just in terms of raw levels too, you have to consider that as like gold income as well. So whilst it is only 10k, the gold lead is, you know, a significant amount more just because of the levels that, or the gold rather, the indirect gold that levels give you.
Yeah, it just means so much more at the stage. And as you touch upon, I mean, look at Violet, for instance. He's pretty much hit the magical moment of being 6 items, just needs to sell those boots and get himself another luxury. And he really will be having the game of his life right now. Mid wave pushed in, bot lane pushed in, looking to open up that first inhibitor.
Yeah, and it's just brute force at this point, right? Double AD comps able just to walk down the inhibitors, and so much damage coming out of the Lilia bowling balls. Just wasn't expecting that, to be honest.
Away.
The one thing Gravitas are doing well here is they're getting their minion waves out. So at the moment, Peace are just playing 1 lane at a time, and it is going to stall out the Baron buff just a little bit. Halo's had to walk back, pick up that wave, and walk it into bot lane turret.
One final cannon minion wave as they have 30 seconds left on this Baron buff. So looking to try and posture aggressively, no doubt. Utilize those ultimates to zone their opposition away. Maybe take the inhibitor, but maybe look for the end at just that as well.
Here we go.
Nocturne's going to start things off with combo that with the Fiddlesticks, looking to lock people in place. The Cataclysm does absolutely nothing. They ult in, they disengage out.
And now this is where Gravitas run into a very big problem. If it wasn't grim already, now when you lose your ultimate, when you lose your R buttons, so those tools, that's the Fiddlestick ult and the Nocturne ultimate, you have no engage tool, and you ultimately have no way of starting the fight, of getting onto the back line of the double AD carries. So just another inhibitor dropped, and it's just going to be methodical. It's going to be painful and methodical if you're a Gravitas fan. 2 inhibitors down, mid lane, bot lane, and why not just 5-man topside and take down the 3rd inhibitor into probably what will be a reset, Skimmy, unless Gravitas want to...
Uh-oh, don't do it. They're welcoming the phase check. That's a 3-man body slam. Lisa looking for the biggest lullaby of his life right now. 4 members put to sleep. Nocturne can't do anything right now. He can watch from the sidelines and bottom lane as Peace will macro, micro, and do everything and more. They will jump in, they will execute, and they will take you on down. Pat the KDA, pat the damage. Make yourself look good on the scoreboards. And at 37 minutes in, with a respawn time has been 40 seconds and higher, this might be the final nail in the coffin, the chance to end this game and breathe a sigh of relief.
I tell you what, Skimmy, that's the lullaby of lullabies. If I had lullabies like that when I was younger, I would have been asleep and not awake all of the time. But congratulations to Peace. It's definitely a convincing win. A few hiccups here and there. Gravitas did put up a resilient effort. Nevertheless, Peace are your winners, and you know, Violet really did put his money where his mouth was. He just put on a real, you know, performance. You know, I like to call it a captain's performance. You know, putting the team on the back. Probably an off day for some members. You know, they're not going to be happy with their performances. But, you know, it was just a Violet show, really, at the end of the day.
It certainly was a day full of explosive action, full of carnage, full of destruction, and full of everything that Mac loves to see in his solo queue experiences. Mate, what did you think about that one?
Oh, mate, that was absolutely lovely. Entertainment from the beginning to end. And I was so sad that ended up finishing off the back of what was a face check of the brush. It seemed like everything that Gravitas did was just so good, just trying to at least even save their base at the end, going toe-to-toe with Peace almost the whole damn time. And I didn't actually check at the end, but it was from the 5-minute mark. I think Violet died around the 5-minute mark. From that point, he didn't die again until he popped that GA in one of the final fights. And then I don't think he even went down. So that was over 30 minutes that he just didn't die and just had a farm fest.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a player that we highlight, and it's a lane in particular that we highlight for Peace, right? So reliable and just so skillful, this Peace bot lane. And here, you know, this is where we saw a little bit of a turning point, right? We thought, you know, Gravitas found their way in this game. And potentially we're going to see, you know, a Baron take here. Like, because at the end of the day, I thought maybe this is a Baron angle, but You know, as with young teams, they do get a bit carried away sometimes and try to end the game all in one. But even here, you know, cheeky little 2-for-1 here if you're a Gravitas fan. And again, stalling the Baron out quite well. But when you look at Violet and you see the 8-1 and the 10-1, you really have to just say, no matter at what point or what state of the game, he's always going to turn up and always going to carry this. And this is what happens here. A nice little flag and drag from Aladoric, of course. Got a special mention.
That fight for me really is the game, like the game-winning fight. The fight that really describes really the state of things, right? That really was the best chance that Gravitas had, if any, given how low so many of those members really were on Peace. And this, as we already saw, right, that really was the nail in the coffin. Peace didn't want to go for the free inhibitor, slow, methodical play. They wanted it in. They wanted carnage. They were having fun, quite honestly. That's sort of the takeaway I get from this one. Rather than meet them with, you know, split the map, play for the lanes, play for this, they just wanted to fight. They wanted to have fun with their food, and by the end of it, they definitely did.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. And look, Safa in that pre-game interview as well said that it's all about developing and pretty much doing as best as they can and learning from it as well. And this was more than a victory, even though they did cop the L. They've learned so much, and they went toe-to-toe with Peace, who is looking like one of the strongest teams in this competition.
Yeah, and, you know, definitely looking like one of the strongest teams. But you'd also have to say, Skimmy, like we did in the game prior, maybe a little bit of a fumble from Peace too. Pentanet and Peace just showing the fumble.
And I think this is exciting for me because people definitely in week one and the expectations of, you know, so clearly defined. This is your top tier team. These are your bottom tier teams. And maybe a bit of, you know, pushback from a lot of these squads right now to say, you know, it really isn't as big a gap as people are trying to make it out to be. You know, we may take the loss on paper, but in terms of how the game actually played out, we pushed them to the end. So, you know, I don't think this league is anywhere near concluded as, you know, these are your top and weak teams. I think we've got a lot of games to go through still.
Well, look, we do have our ADC here from the winning team, Violet. Let's bring him in and have a quick interview. Violet, mate, absolute spectacular performance. Your mechanics around the 21-minute mark. Yeah, that 1v3, which you managed to just dip, duck, dip, dive, and dodge everything. You managed to get away with a kill. You almost got the 3K, but you decided to be a bit humble in that respect. You know, are you happy with your performance today?
Not really. I think I played the lane phase quite well, like in the first 10 minutes of the game, but after that, I fumbled a lot of team fights and I played way too respectfully. So I'll play a lot better in the games, in the next upcoming game this past week.
Alrighty.
I'll tell you what, I wish when I was playing League of Legends back in the day, I could finish a game 13-1 and say, I wish I played better. Back in my day, 13-1. 13-1 was a pay rise and off the MSI, but talk to us. So, you know, obviously you come into the split with your own expectations, Violet. With how the 2 weeks have played out now and these games have played out, how are you feeling? Like, have your expectations changed? Has this game changed your expectations? What's the feeling like in the camp?
I mean, I expect to just win this split. I don't think, as I said earlier in previous interviews, if I play my best, I'll be the best AD carry in OS by far. But right now, I'm not playing as well as I feel like I should, so I'll continue getting better in the next few weeks.
Break that down for me a little bit more, because I mean, we saw that you had such a massive lead, up by 3 or 4K over your counterpart in Jinx there. What did it really come down to? Was it a case of, you know, you were meeting a composition which was designed to target you with the Nocturne and the Fiddlesticks, so you were showing a lot of restraint because you were quite summoner reliant, or the fact that, you know, there was a lot of gold from your bounty that could have gone across that would have put the game in a bit of a weird state?
Yeah, I was very surprised by what they picked. To be honest, we didn't expect them to pick like Nocturne, and we knew they might pick Seraphine, but like we were just surprised by what they picked, and we got caught off guard, to be honest. And if I died, I feel like if I died once that game, we probably would have lost the game if I died, which is why I had to hold myself back and play respectfully.
I'll tell you a fun fact, Violet.
Yeah.
If you did die, the gold would have been even. Put it that way.
Yeah. So I couldn't really afford to make mistakes that game. Otherwise, it was just GG.
Well, you did a good job of that, and you know that Guardian Angel certainly saving you in that team fight, one of the ones towards the end. You know, very good job. I was saying before we brought you in, you lasted over 30 minutes after that first death without dying again, and I don't think you even died for the rest of the game. So very good performance coming out from you there. Also, just quickly, what was going through your heads, and right at the end there, you just decided to walk out of the base, sit in the bush, and hope for something to happen? Is that the thought process there?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were planning on like basing, but since we had Baron buff, we were just gonna move top and try and break top there. And then we were like, let's just camp this bush. If they're noobs, they'll face check it, and they were. So we just ended the game off that.
All right, beautiful. Well, that'll wrap things up. So again, congratulations on the victory. Even though you don't think you played as well as you could, I'm sure everyone on the desk here and everyone at home thinks you played spectacularly. So, remember that going into next week.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.
Thank you very much, Violet, for the interview. And that'll bring us towards the end of the day. So 4 banger matches. That's going to be hard to top as we, start to head towards tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, they were games where, some of the ones where you thought, it's signed, sealed, delivered, it's not going to be much action, turned out to be our best games. Yeah. And I think that's probably a testament to how close the league is now, and how we should probably stop overestimating and underestimating, right? We got to meet somewhere in the middle. Like, you look at Legacy 0-3, have not played, they have not played, 0-3 games, if you ask me. They've been in it, they could have won it. And the likes of Gravitas 1 and 2, could arguably be 2-1. Likes of Direwolves as well, could be 3-0. So you look across the ladder this early on and you start to think, wow, like, it is actually very close when you start running the numbers and looking how all those games played out.
Yeah,
I guess it's incredibly close from what we've seen so far. I mean, you're looking at the top 2. Sorry to cut you off there, Mac.
No, it's fine.
You're looking at the top 2, and I think there's no surprises there, right? Even if they are, slugfest, really hard-fought victories, they were looking at victory nonetheless from a lot of what we saw on an individual basis, but they definitely got pushed harder than they would have expected. I think there's no surprises that they are tied first right now, but for the rest of the league, I think we still need a few more games, a few more weeks for it to really even out and get a more well-rounded picture as to where teams really should be placed.
Well, that's it. And look, it all comes down, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or you win by a mile. It's the teams that get the wins on the board that matter, and we've seen that from the top 2 teams so far. And something else we need to have a quick look at is the play of the day. And today's play of the day is not only one man, but it's also the second man as well. It's Cupcake and Gumcrab, both with the snipes. Look at this huge hook, and then the huge Jinx ulti as well to finish off this kill. Look how hard that read was. You can see the missile coming in from mid, and it's a see you later to Wei.
What a hacker. What an absolute hacker.
That's definitely one you'd throw in your montage if you're looking to try and go overseas for next year, right? To say, hey, look, we did this. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in myself. I believe in my team. I believe in what I'm able to do. And, we heard it from Cupcake earlier after that game, right? If I can be one to show a bit of confidence, if that can maybe, simmer and spread to the rest of the team, well, it definitely did there.
Well, that's pure chemistry coming through right there. Now, let's see what kind of chemistry the people at home have been putting together and what kind of memes they've managed to send us from the fans. So if you have a look at here, Regios, Regice, Ties, great comparison there.
I'll be honest, can you explain it to me?
I don't get it. I'm going to be quite honest here. What have I missed? Is there an inside joke here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought you guys would dig me out of this hole. But look, I'm in a deep... Oh, tell me.
No, like, as in, we're all in the hole together.
Yes. Great hole. Thank you, Tyres, for throwing us all in a hole. Hopefully you can explain that to me later.
Oh, look at that one.
I can explain things tomorrow.
That one is a big true. That one is a big true.
I did not notice that. I actually did not even notice that.
Are they... Oh, okay. I didn't notice they were there either.
Bit of a blast of the past.
I might have to speak with production after the show.
Well, I guess we'll see if we can get that one updated going into tomorrow. And FF at Pentanet. Oh, okay. So Legacy with the big words. Unfortunately, that didn't age well, did it? So it was dangerous though. It was dangerous, and I hope we get to see some more cats slipping through in the Champ Selects going forward. But that's it. So that's from the fans. It's still going to be memes for the rest of the week, memes and trash talk. So pretty please at LCO, hashtag LCO with any great concoctions you guys can spin together, and we'll get them on the show for the rest of the week. And I guess showcase what you guys have been working on and what great content everyone at home can create as well. So, no surprises there. I think Tyres needs to... He's got something deep going on.
We need some help there, eh?
I guarantee you I'll have a message from him on the social medias when I log off work today or tonight.
Yeah.
you know, when I clock off and, you know, I'll have a message from him and I'll clarify. And also, I might even drop some memes myself when I'm not casting because at the end of the day, you are safe from memes and banter when you become the meme yourself. So myself volunteered, I'm a meme. Now you can't meme me. Doesn't matter. I'm immune.
You're not.
Maybe you're part of Chiefs, because I'm looking at the Chiefs with their interviews between Swaif and Draku. They've got those camera angles all sussed out and sorted. So, I mean, I don't know about you last week, mate, but that was definitely on a Chiefs vibe. So maybe maybe biased towards these different teams. Who knows?
Oh,
Maybe.
looking at Draku, though, you have to talk about his genetics. Every interview, he's just popping those pecs. He's just
He
sitting
was
there.
popping the pec. I didn't want to bring it up. I did not want to bring it up. But I saw the pecs moving and I thought, might be inappropriate to bring up at that time. But now that we're at the end of the show and everyone's feeling a bit loosey-goosey, we'll bring it up.
And look, if you want genetics or you want to test your genetics just like Draku, you can head over to Esports Assessment Labs and you can also test exactly what you're made of. There's a bunch of tests to test your reaction time, your cognitive abilities, and not only can you test them, but you can keep going back to see if you're improving as you use the service as well. So, you know, everyone at home, please head over there and go and test that one out. And that brings us towards the end of the day. So I guess we can have a quick look at what is coming up for tomorrow's games, the old Wednesday games here for day 2 of week 2. It is going to kick off with Order and Direwolves, which again could be another banger match. 7 p.m. Legacy up against Peace, which, you know, if Legacy get allowed to play as they want, Peace could be in trouble, but who knows? Peace looking very good today. Mammoth Gravitas, of course, is going to be a pretty good battle as well. And then you got Chiefs and Pentanet, so yet another day with some banger matchups.
I think every game's a banger right there, quite honestly. I know it's the most boring answer, but I think every matchup has its own unique, beautiful story of what it could mean, what it could represent, how it puts yourself into confidence and standings, and how it really gets you kicked off in this campaign. You know, you got the classic battle between Mammoth and Gravitas that we've always looked at quite intensely, and then you've got the continued storyline of, you know, can Order continue to glow up?
Oh, 100%. Hit the nail on the head. I'm not even going to add anything to it because sometimes I just add a little bit too much, and I think he's done just right. You know, he's seasoned it well. You know, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. It's been seasoned. The carpet's been set, and I'll come back. I wasn't going to come back, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to... That's it. Skimmy's made me come back.
The cutlery put down, the napkin served,
behind the scenes, thanks Skimmy, because I'm coming back.
Just
there it is, bro.
Enough spice to season things there. And look, I think we're cooked, we're well done, and that'll bring us towards the end of today. So much more action coming up tomorrow. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and we'll see you for much more LCO action.
He's huge. His health bar's up by 50%. Out comes the stun. Stun to the tower. Unleash the power ×2, because that's an empowered rocket. This will be the 4th to their name. Look at that. Unleash power goes on through. The beach jumps on through. Look at it trying to use the Magnet Storm to good effect. They've stolen the dragon. They have stolen the dragon. Maybe this could be the turning point for Order. Maybe they bought themselves just enough time. Kills are coming up big time here for Order. They said forget it. Oh, they're just buckling one by one. They fall on down. They're running it on repeat. This part of the map is doomed. It's cursed.
Hammer's pretty much negated just by that Seeker's
Archive. The flash hook! He's a madman. He did it on vision, but he had to make a prediction. He flashes on through, and that is going to be only picking up his first kill of the game.
Well, Direwolves composition obviously wants to group up.
Oh! Cupcake is literally smurfing right now with these hooks. Goes for the instant box into exhaust. Unfortunately, no follow-up right now, but they can harass over the... Whoa! There's the bullets! And there is the super mega death rocket. What a name and what a play. Maybe we can catch out a second member in quick pursuit as well. Jukes out the flame breath, goes to the death loaders, interrupts that one nice and quickly, gets out of range of the Magnet Storm as Decoy tried to clap on top, but he has no flash, he just outplayed him. Fancy feet, he's playing with his food right now. Sets more to your mental comprehension, and that might be one that's being called out and fallen on down. Experience coming to be far too strong. There's the killer instinct. A redemption dropped in their head, but the redemption is actually only found here for Pentanet because they're the ones that are finding the gold, finding the kills, and finding the... Don't do it. They're welcoming the fading check. That's a 3-man body slam. Lisa looking for the biggest lullaby of his life right now. 4 members put to sleep. Nocturne can't do anything right now. He can watch from the sidelines in bottom lane as Peace will micro and do everything and more. They will jump in, they will execute, and they will take you on down. Pat the KDA, pat the